Hi mga kawawmat, in this video we will discuss finding the domain and range of a function. So our objectives, we will express each statement using function notation. We will find the domain and range of a function given the graph. We will also find the domain and range of a function given an equation. So what is a function notation? So, a function notation, so kung babalikan natin yung concept natin ng function, 'di ba, na diniscuss natin dun sa previous tutorial natin. So, ang atin pong domain is what we called, o yun din po yung tinatawag nating set of all inputs. So, yun yung mga dun tayo, that is your independent variable where we are giving values to the to x, okay? We are giving possible values of x, okay? And then, we will have our function rule, which results to range. So, dun tayo magkakaroon ng range ngayon, which is the set of all the outputs. So, kapag meron tayong input, which is your domain or yung ating independent variable, magfa-function siya. So, meron tayong function notation. Okay? And then, magre-result siya ngayon dun sa output natin, which is also our range. Or ito yung tinatawag din nating dependent variable. Okay? So, just like a function machine, so dito natin ipapasok yung ating input. Okay? And then, nandito sa loob yung ating function o function rule, lalabas ngayon si output, which is your y or the range, okay? Or ito rin po yung tinatawag nating f of x. Okay. Now, we can also say that y is a function of x. So, ito po siya, y is a function of x or f of x. Okay, take note ha. The notation f of x does not mean of f multiplied by x, okay? Hindi natin siya minumultiply. So, kapag halimbawa, nagbigay si x ng value o yung possible value ng x mo or input, kapag nilagay mo siya dito, it doesn't mean f times, let's say, 1. It doesn't mean f times 1, okay? So, ang ibig sabihin po nun, y is equal to the function at x. So, at x, ibig sabihin, yun yung gagamitin mong value ng x para ma-solve mo yung y mo. Okay? But it doesn't mean that you have to multiply. Okay. So, in other words, f of x denotes the value o yung y value, which is your range, that the function f pairs with x value, which is your domain. So, yung f of 1 natin, let's say f of 1. So, f of 1 denotes the value of y at x is equal to 1. Okay? So, yun po ang ibig sabihin nun. So, y at x. Ano yung x? 1. Okay. So, it doesn't mean f multiplied by x. Okay. So, let's have an example. Express each statement using function notation. So, ano lang po to? Express lang po natin. Paano kapag binigyan kayo ng mga statements and then you are asked to express it in function notation. Okay? So, yun yung mga f of x. Okay? So, how many liters of water are wasted when the faucet runs for 5 minutes? So, ibig sabihin, ang x mo dito is 5. Right? So, therefore, that is find f of 5. Next, find the value of y that corresponds to the value of x is equal to 12. So, your x here is 12. So, that is find f of 12. Okay? So, this is our function notation. So, ito po yung tinatawag nating function notation. Next, y is 300 when x is 20. So, y is 300 when x is 20. So, that is f of 20 is equal to 300. So, if x daw is 20, so ayan, nilagay natin siya dito, your y will become 300. Okay? So, this is the function notation, or this is how we express the given statements into function notation. Okay, let's have this one. So, if f of x is equal to 8x squared minus 2x minus 3, okay? So, ito pong, let's say, find f of 0. So, paano ba siya gagawin? Find f of 8. Find f of negative 1/2. So, what are you gonna do is to copy the function, okay? And then, since our notation here is f of 0, so ibig sabihin 0 po yung ilalagay natin sa x, okay? So, we will have f of 0. Okay, so yun po yung value ng x natin kasi yun po ang binigay niya. Now, anong gagawin natin dito sa x natin? Yun po ang ilalagay natin sa lahat ng values ng x natin dito. Okay, so ang ilalagay po natin dito is 0, ganun din po dito. Okay, so we will get f of 0 is equal to, this is 0 squared is 0, so 0 times 8, that is already 0. And then 2 times 0, that is still 0. So we have negative 3. So 0 minus 0 minus 3, that is negative 3. Okay? So f of 0 is equal to negative 3. Now let's solve for f of 8. So ang x natin dito is 8. So iyan po ang isa-substitute natin sa mga x natin. So we will get 8 squared muna, simplify nyo muna ito. So, 8 times 8, that is 64. Bago natin siya i-times sa 8. Okay, and then 2 times 8, that is 16. Okay, so we will get 8 times 64, that is 512, minus 16 minus 3. So, 512 minus 16 minus 3, that is 493. Next, let's proceed to f of negative 1/2. So, ang isa-substitute natin dito ay negative 1/2. So, ganun din po sa lahat ng x natin. Okay? Since the value of x is negative 1/2, therefore, yun po ang ilalagay natin sa ating mga x. Okay? So, 8. So, ito muna. Simplify muna natin itong exponent natin. So, negative 1/2 times negative 1/2, that is positive 1/4. Okay, why? Kasi 2 times 2, that is 4. Now, negative 2, so ito po, makakancel na to, makakancel na yung 2, so ang maiiwan na lang ay 1. Okay, pero bakit positive? Kasi negative times negative, positive. Okay, and then bring down negative 3. Now, so we now have 8 times 1/4. So, let us simplify. So, 8 times 1/4, that is 2. Kasi pwede mo to i-cancel. 8 divide 4, that is 2. Okay, and then copy plus 1 minus 3. So, 2 plus 1 is 3, minus 3, that is 0. Okay. So, the domain and range of a function given a graph, paano ba natin makukuha kapag ang binigay sa atin graph? So, paano natin malalaman ang domain and range? Okay. So, ang unang-una mong titingnan dyan, kapag ang graph mo ay may arrow, ibig sabihin infinite yon. Pero kapag meron siyang endpoint, ibig sabihin, natapos siya. Ibig sabihin may restriction. Okay? So, yun po ang tatandaan ha. So, in the previous lesson, you have learned how to find the domain and range of the relation. So, kapag relation, madali lang kunin yung domain and range, diba? Kunin mo lang lahat ng x values para sa domain, kunin mo lang lahat ng y values o yung y coordinates para sa range. Yun yung sa relation. Now, how about in finding the domain and range of a function? So, the domain of the function is the set of all possible x values, which is your independent variable, and the range is the set of all possible values of y, which is your dependent variable. So, halimbawa, meron akong graph dito, okay? Observe that the graph extends infinitely in both directions. So, kung mapapansin nyo, paano ba natin malalaman na nag-extend siya infinitely? Kasi po, arrow po ito. Okay, yung both directions niya parehong arrow. So, ibig sabihin, nag-extend yan, infinite yan. Okay? So, unending. Okay. So, this means that the values of x, so, ibig sabihin, kung nag-extend itong graph ng ating linear function, function, okay, kung nag-extend po ito, ibig sabihin, tuloy-tuloy yan, kasi infinite eh. So, ibig sabihin, kung mag-extend siya, tuloy-tuloy lang din yung values of x mo. Kasi kung mag-extend yan, pareho, eto. So, gagalaw siya dito, hahaba yan pa ganito, hahaba rin yan pataas. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung ating domain, okay, o yung x natin, is the set of all real numbers. Okay? Bakit all real numbers? Kasi since infinite siya, nag-extend siya both direction, ibig sabihin pareho siyang mag-extend both x and y. Okay? Wala siyang restriction. Okay? So kapag ganun, na nakita nyo na may arrow, ibig sabihin infinite. Therefore, it's the set of all real numbers. Okay? And then, ganun din po sa ating range. So, our range is the set of all real numbers also. Okay? So, the set of all y such that y is the set of all real numbers. So, ibig sabihin lahat kasi since nag-extend siya both direction, parehong arrow natin yan. So, ibig sabihin that means infinity. Okay? So, infinity means lahat dadaanan niya, madadaanan niya kasi mag-extend yan. Both x and y. Okay? So, therefore, our domain and range here is the set of all real numbers. Okay? Next. So, what if I have this? So, meron tayong ganitong graph. So, as you can see, pareho siyang may 2 arrows pa rin. Okay? So, ibig sabihin infinite to. Kaya lang, this is what kind of graph? This is a parabola. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, from here, eto, nag-stop siya dito, pag ganun. So, ibig sabihin, yung graph niya, it extends infinitely upward. So, infinite lang siya pataas. Okay? Kasi yung arrow niya nakaturo sa taas. Hindi kagaya kanina, yung previous slide natin, magkabilaan, 'di ba? So, ibig sabihin, mag-extend yun, both x and y. Now, dito, kung mapapansin nyo, yung graph niya, infinitely upward. So, pataas lang kasi nandun nakaturo yung arrow niya. So, paano mo kukunin ang domain and range mo kapag ganito ang graph? Okay? So, ang domain mo dito is the set of all real numbers. Bakit? Since mag-extend ito, so tuloy-tuloy yan, pahaba yan, pareho yan dito. So, mag-extend ito, so gaganon siya. Pataas yan, pahaba. Tama? So, yung x natin, the set of all real numbers. Okay? Kasi mag-extend yan. So, pag ganun yan. So, yung x-axis mo, dire-diretso yan, pahaba. Okay? Now, paano sa range natin dun sa y? So, dito tayo titingin. Since yung y natin, dumaan siya dito sa 0, 0. Ibig sabihin, dito siya tumapat. Okay? Or ito yung pinaka-peak niya. So, from here, nag-extend siya upward. Pero saan siya tumigil? I mean, saan siya nag-stop dito sa baba? Okay? So, ibig sabihin, since upward ito, ang values of y natin o yung range natin, so your y is the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, that is our range. Bakit greater than or equal to 0? Kasi yung graph mo, nagsimula siya sa 0, pataas. Okay? So, as you can see, wala siyang na-cover dito. Wala siyang na-cover. Alright, so let me repeat. Na kapag, kung titingnan natin yung graph natin, nag-start siya sa 0. Okay? So, nag-start siya sa 0, pataas. So, yung infinite niya, pataas. So, therefore, ang magiging range mo dito is y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Kasi, parang nagkaroon siya ng restriction dito lang sa y-axis eh. So, yung y-axis niya, nag-start siya sa 0, pataas. Ibig sabihin, dito siya nag-start. Okay? Next. So, paano naman kapag ganito? So, kapag ganito, okay, so as you can see, the graph extends infinitely downward. So, pababa naman. So, ibig sabihin, kung mag-extend tong dalawang side mo, mag-extend yan, gaganon yan, 'di ba? So, lahat ng x madadaanan niya. So, ito kasi yung x natin eh. Ito yung domain. Okay? So, lahat ng x madadaanan kasi mag-extend to pareho. Okay. Now, so therefore, our domain is the set of all real numbers. Okay? Kasi wala siyang restriction. Now, pagdating sa ating range, kung mapapansin nyo, so, infinite yung dito niya sa baba, 'di ba? So, dito siya, yung graph niya, infinite yung dito sa baba. Kasi infinitely downward. Ngayon, yung dito sa taas, dito siya nag-start. Okay? So, saan siya nakatapat? Sa y-axis. Sa 4. So, therefore, ang range mo is the set of all y such that y is less than or equal to 4. Okay? Titingnan nyo kung saan siya nakatapat. So, eto, ma'am, di ba dapat dito siya, yung point? Hindi po. Kahit dito pa yan. Basta ang titingnan nyo saan siya nakatapat. So, since nakatapat siya dito sa 4 natin, ibig sabihin, this is the range. This is your range. Simula dito, up to dito, infinitely downward. Okay? So, your y or yung range natin is less than or equal to 4. Now, ang question dito is, paano nyo ba malalaman na greater than? So, after nyo makuha yung kung saan siya nag-start, okay? O, nakuha mo na kung saan siya nakatapat. Paano ba natin malalaman kung greater than or less than? Okay. So, tingnan nyo lang yung graph. Kapag upward, greater than. Kapag pa-downward siya, less than. Okay? Or simply, kapag binigyan ka ng equation, halimbawa ito, this is a quadratic equation kasi squared siya. So, kapag binigyan ka nito, ang titingnan mo, ito, yung leading term. But make sure na naka-arrange yung ating equation into standard form. So, pag sinabi nating standard form, yung naka-arrange yung degree niya. Okay? So, kapag ganito, isa pang paraan kung paano malalaman kung less than or greater than ang symbol mo? Kapag yung leading term o yung umpisa mo negative, less than. Okay? So, pag negative kasi ito, this means that your graph extends infinitely downward. Okay? So, kapag ganito naman, upward, greater than. Okay? So, yun lang po ang mga titingnan. Next. So, I have here 3 graphs with 3 different directions. Okay? So, kapag ganito ang graph, as you can see, wala tayong arrow. Okay? Kasi arrow symbolizes infinity. Tama? Now, kapag ganito na walang arrow, ibig sabihin, there is an endpoint. Ibig sabihin, nag-e-end siya, natatapos siya. Okay? So, kapag ganito na natatapos ang graph mo, may endpoint, walang arrow, ibig sabihin, dito mo masasabing may restriction. Okay? So, ang domain mo dito is the set of all x such that x is greater than or equal to negative 3 but less than or equal to 3. Now, paano ko nakuha itong x? So, kapag x, dito ka lang titingin sa x-axis. Okay. Dito sa x-axis, titingnan mo saan yung endpoint. So, tingin tayo. So, dito sa x-axis, nakatapat siya dito. Ayun yung isang endpoint natin. Nakatapat siya sa negative 3. Okay, ibig sabihin dyan. Dyan siya natapos. Hanggang saan? So, nakatapat siya sa positive 3. So, therefore, ang x mo is greater than or equal to negative 3 but less than positive 3. Okay? Punta naman tayo sa range. So, ganito po kapag may endpoint. So, meron na siyang restriction. Okay? So, ang range naman natin is the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to negative 2 but less than or equal to positive 3. So, dito naman, paano mo naman makukuha o malalaman yung y? So, dito naman tayo sa y-axis. Ito yung y-axis mo. So, dito sa y-axis, okay, saan siya? Ito. So, negative 2. Ayun siya. Okay, so nag-start siya sa negative 2 hanggang saan? So, akyat tayo, akyat. Tingnan mo kung saan nakatapat yung point. So, yung point mo, yung end point nakatapat dito. And this is positive 3. Right? So, this is positive 3. So, ayun siya. Okay, tingnan nyo lang po yung mga endpoint kung saan siya nag-end. Kung saan siya tumigil, kung saan siya nakatapat sa x at y axis. So, therefore, your y is greater than or equal to negative 2 but less than or equal to positive 3. Okay, next. Dito naman. So, your domain here, so ito yung x-axis mo. Okay, so x, galaw-galaw. Saan siya nakatapat? Dito. So, this is negative 1. Okay, hanggang saan? Hanggang saan? So, dito siya nag-end. So, this is positive 3. Kaya your x is greater than or equal to negative 1 but less than or equal to positive 3. Next. So, your range here is, dito tayo. So, Ito yung y-axis mo, saan tumapat yung point. So, tumapat siya sa 0. Okay? Hanggang 2. Ayun yung point. So, tumapat siya sa 2. So, 0, 2. So, your y is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to positive 2. Okay? So, tingnan nyo lang po kung saan nakatapat yung endpoint. Next, yung domain. What is your domain? So, tingin tayo sa ating x-axis. So, ito. So, nag-start siya dito. What is this? So, negative 3. Okay? So, negative 3 hanggang saan? Ito yung x. So, positive 3. So, your x is greater than or equal to negative 3 but less than or equal to positive 3. Okay, punta tayo sa range. So, your range, okay. So, dito, so, saan nakatapat? Saan yung turning point? Ito, umikot siya dito. So, ibig sabihin, nung nag-graph siya, gumanon siya, umikot. So, ibig sabihin hanggang dito. Okay? So, hanggang dito siya. So, ito po ay negative 2 hanggang saan siya umikot. So, pagka-graph niyang ganun, umikot. So, ibig sabihin hanggang dito lang. So, positive 2. Okay? So, your the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to negative 2 but less than or equal to positive 2. So, this is how we get the domain and range of a function given na graph. So, tingnan mabuti ha kung may arrow o endpoint. Next, how to find the domain and range of a function given an equation naman. So, paano naman kapag equation ang binigay? Okay. So, meron lang tayong tatlong tatandaan. Parang ito yung pinaka-rule niya. Okay? So, if you have f of x is equal to negative 2x plus 4, okay, as you can see, there is no values of x that makes the function f undefined. Ibig sabihin, kahit anong isubstitute mo dyan, meron kang corresponding values of y o yung range natin. Okay? So, yung domain mo dito has no restriction. So, ibig sabihin, kahit ano pwede, wala siyang less than or equal, walang ganon. So, therefore, kapag ang given mo ay walang restriction, okay, so kapag ang given mo ay walang restriction, so ibig sabihin, kahit anong values of x pwede mo ilagay na dyan, na magre-result sa range mo na real numbers din. So, therefore, your domain here is x such that x is the set of all real numbers. Kasi kahit ano pwede mo i-substitute dyan, walang restriction, right? And then your range also, since all real numbers to, magre-result din yung y mo o yung range mo as all real numbers. Okay? So, all real numbers din siya. Now, so another way is, paano malalaman na ang domain and range ay all real numbers? Kapag nakita nyo na ang function ninyo is linear, pag sinabi nating linear, yung exponent niya o yung highest degree niya ay 1. Ang domain and range po niyan ay laging all real numbers. So, yun po tatandaan ha. Kapag ang given function is linear, okay, ito ay i-explain natin sa susunod na video tutorial. Okay? So, kapag ang kapag ang function ninyo is linear, ibig sabihin yung degree mo dito, the highest degree is 1. Ang domain and range niyan ay lagi pong all set of real numbers kasi wala po siyang restriction. Okay? Yun lang po ang tatandaan. Next, kapag meron kang f of x is equal to x squared plus 2. Okay. Now, for every values of x, sa bawat possible values of x na isa-substitute natin dyan, it makes your function define. Right? Therefore, the domain is the set of all real numbers. So, kahit anong values ang ilagay mo dyan, therefore, it is the set of all real numbers. Now, pagdating sa range, it is the set of all positive numbers greater than 2. Paano natin kukunin ang range? Ang range na y is the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to positive 2. Okay, paano nakukuha ang range niyan? So, kapag ang given mo ay quadratic, pag sinabing quadratic, ito, yung squared, yung highest degree, ito linear, kasi 1. Ito quadratic. So, kapag quadratic, ang gagawin lang po natin kapag positive ito, greater than. Okay? And then, ito lang po, copy lang po natin ito. Okay po. So, ganun lang po. So, ang domain niya is the set of all real numbers. So, the set of all real numbers. And then, yung atin pong range, dito po tayo magbe-base. So, ang range mo, since positive ito, greater than. So, yun lang po ang pinaka-tip na maibibigay ko. So, kapag ang binigay na equation sa inyo ay quadratic, yung squared na siya. So, tingnan mo to. Yung domain niya lagi pong all real numbers. Ang range niya, kung positive, greater than. Okay? And then, kung wala ka ng ibang kasamang constant dito, edi 2. Okay po? Kung meron pa, i-add mo yon. Tapos, yun po ang ilalagay mo dito. Next, paano naman po kapag may radicand? Okay, so ito po. So, kapag for a function involving square root to be defined, the radicand should be greater than or equal to 0. So, kapag ang binigay naman na equation, so ito, nagpakita ako ng tatlong klase para alam nyo kung paano kunin ang domain and range. So, kapag meron po nito, meron tayong radicand. So, tatandaan na ang x mo dapat should be greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So, kapag nag-solve ka dito, ikakopy mo yung nasa loob, ganito ang gagawin mo. Igi-greater than or equal to 0 mo siya. Kasi yung nasa radicand natin, hindi siya pwedeng mag-negative. Okay? So, dapat greater than or equal to 0. So, dapat ang x mo ay set of all positive numbers including 0. Okay? So, now, so therefore, ang domain mo dito, dapat x such that x is greater than or equal to 0. Yun ang magiging domain mo dito. Now, kung halimbawa, meron dyang x plus 2. So, isosolve mo yon using this. So, dapat greater than or equal to 0 kasi hindi siya pwedeng mag-negative kapag meron tayong square root. Okay? Now, ang range natin dyan, lagi pong y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so I have here 3 cases. So, ito lang po ang tatandaan. Kapag linear, yung ang degree mo ay 1, lagi pong ang domain and range natin dyan ay set of all real numbers. Kapag quadratic, ang function mo, yung ang highest degree ay 2, ang domain po niyan ay lagi pong set of all real numbers. Ang range niya, dito ka na mag-iisip, kapag positive, greater than, and then copy mo lang to. Okay? Kapag may radicand naman, make sure na yung nasa loob should be greater than 0. Kapag na-solve mo to, yun po ang iyong domain. So, ang domain mo ay magbe-base po kung ano po ang kinalabasan ng result o yung result mo dito after mo mag-solve. Basta ito po ang susundin. X is greater than or equal to 0. Now, since ito ang lumabas, yun ang naging domain ko. Okay? And then yung range, hindi mo to kailangan pag-isipan. Ang range po kapag meron tayong radicand is always greater than or equal to 0. Since ang nilagay natin dito ay greater than or equal to 0, therefore, ang magiging result niyan, greater than or equal to 0 din. Okay? So, ito lang po ang tatandaan. Parehong set of all real numbers kapag linear. Kapag quadratic, ang domain mo set of all real numbers, ang range mo dito ka magbe-base. Kapag may radicand, make sure na yung nasa loob ay greater than 0. Yun ang magiging domain mo. And then, ang range mo lagi pong y is greater than or equal to 0. Let's have an example. So, I have here f of x is equal to square root of x plus 5. So, ito nakaradicand. Okay, may radicand tayo. So, anong sabi ko? Kapag may radicand, the radicand should be greater than or equal to 0. So, copy natin si x plus 5. Okay? So, copy natin si x plus 5. Okay? And then sabi, di ba yung diniscuss ko kanina, yung tatlong case, dapat kapag may radicand should be greater than or equal to 0. So, ayan, na greater than or equal to 0 ako. And then let us solve. So, you will get x is greater than or equal to, so by APE, magiging negative 5. Okay? So, therefore, sabi ko nga, kung ano yung masolve mo dyan, yun po ang domain mo. So, your domain is the set of all x such that x is greater than or equal to negative 5. Okay? And then, yung range mo, sabi ko, lagi pong the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to 0. Lagi pong ganito ang range. Okay? So, ang domain, ito po ay magbe-base dito kung anong nakuha mo. Next, another example. So, I have here square root of 2x minus 7. So, again, the radicand should be greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So, ito po ay nag-base tayo dun sa pangatlong rule. Okay? Na kapag may radicand. So, 2x minus 7 is greater than or equal to 0. Kasi yun po ang sabi kanina. And then, let us solve. So, 2x is greater than or equal to 7. So, by APE, so magiging positive 7 po siya. So, we will have divide both sides by 2. Di-divide natin to both sides by 2. So, ang makukuha natin ay x is greater than or equal to 7 over 2. Okay, so 7 kasi divide both sides by 2 yan. So, 7 over 2. So, therefore, since ito ang nakuha natin, our domain is the set of all x such that x is greater than or equal to 7 over 2. So, again ha, kung ano yung nasolve mo dito, yun po ang domain. But make sure, dapat, greater than or equal to 0. Ito po palagi. And then your range, lagi pong, ang range natin is the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to 0. Lagi pong ito. Next. So, ito, this is quadratic kasi ang degree niya ay 2. Okay? So, paano kapag quadratic? So, sabi ko nga, if it is a quadratic function and the leading term is positive, the range is greater than or equal to kung ano yung nandito. Okay? Kung ano yung nandito. So, matik yan, ang domain mo, the set of all real numbers. Yun yung sinabi ko kanina, na kapag naka-quadratic siya, ang domain niya, laging the set of all real numbers. Now, paano ang range? Ito po siya, negative 5 po ito, diba? So, negative 5 po. Ngayon, since ito po ay positive, so sabi nga, kapag ang leading term mo ay positive, then the range is greater than or equal to. So, ito po siya. So, the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to. Bakit greater than or equal to? Kasi positive yung leading term. And then, just copy negative 5. Okay, next. So, meron naman akong f of x is equal to negative 3x squared minus 4. So, if it is a quadratic function, kasi the highest degree is 2, and the leading term is negative, then the range is less than or equal to. Okay? So, ang domain natin dito, lagi pong set of all real numbers, nabanggit yun kanina. And then, ang range po natin is, since negative ito, ibig sabihin, yan ang tip, palatandaan mo na less than or equal to. And then, just copy, negative 4. Okay? So, again, kapag nakaradicand siya, make sure na greater than 0. I-solve, and then yun yung magiging domain mo. Ang range niya laging greater than or equal to 0. Kapag quadratic naman, ito ang highest degree niya ay 2. Ang domain niya lagi pong set of all real numbers. Ang range niya, tingnan mo to, yung leading term. Kapag positive, greater than or equal to. Kapag negative, less than or equal to. And then, copy lang natin to. Negative 5, negative 4. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell para updated kayo for more video tutorials. This is your guide in learning your math lessons, your Wow Math channel.